Dana White just dropped a major revelation during testimony in the UFC antitrust lawsuit, and it completely changes how people view power inside the company, revealing that he's effectively stepped away from UFC matchmaking and fighter contract negotiations altogether. According to his testimony, ever since Hunter Campbell was hired, the structure shifted. Matchmaking and negotiations are now mainly handled by Hunter Campbell, Sean Shelby, and Mick Maynard. Dana made it clear that he is essentially removed from that entire process, saying his involvement in fighter contracts is basically non-existent, and that no manager in the sport would claim he has negotiated a deal in a long time. This is a big deal because for years, Dana White has been seen as the central power figure in everything UFC related, from fights to contracts to negotiations. Daniel Cormier just laid out his solution for the lack of American champions in UFC, and it's built entirely around wrestling. In his view, the blueprint is already proven. Khabib did it, Islam did it, Eastern European wrestlers came into MMA, imposed their style, and took over championships across divisions. And now DC thinks that same model is exactly what American fighters need to reclaim the top of the sport. He says the UFC right now is dominated by wrestlers, not strikers. Champions aren't winning belts with flashy stand-up, they're winning with pressure, control, and elite grappling. He believes American wrestling has the talent pool to compete with anyone in the world, but the problem is mentality. Too many elite American wrestlers, in his eyes, are hesitant to fully commit to fighting, to truly embrace MMA instead of just wrestling backgrounds. So DC says he has a plan. His focus is on pulling American wrestlers into the sport properly, not halfway, not as a backup option, but as real mixed martial artists.
The American wrestler isn't as open to fighting as we need him to be. But we got a plan. I have a plan.
What's the plan?
I'm getting American wrestlers to fight. I love those guys. I love Khabib. I love Islam. Those guys are the best. But I want American wrestlers as champions. It's the Eastern European wrestler that's the champion. Very few strikers. They're wrestlers that are champions. We got to get our wrestlers going back into the sport of mixed martial arts.
Nurmagomedov's potential UFC debut could be imminent, and Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman are already hyping it as a game-changer for the lightweight division. On a recent podcast episode, the two former champs discussed Usman's situation. He reportedly has just 1 or 2 fights left on his PFL contract, and with his dominance as the PFL lightweight champion, a free agent move to the UFC feels very real and possibly coming soon. Khabib's cousin has been untouchable in PFL, showcasing elite grappling, improving striking, and the same relentless Dagestani pressure that made Islam Makhachev a pound-for-pound king. Henry didn't hold back. He straight up placed Usman in the UFC lightweight top 3 right now, ahead of names like Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira. The hype is justified. Usman's wrestling pedigree, submission game, and recent evolution make him a nightmare matchup for anyone. With Islam now at welterweight, timing couldn't be better. If Nurmagomedov jumps soon, the division's hierarchy could flip fast. Let's hear Cejudo and Kamaru break down why they're so high on him and what his arrival would mean. Roll the clip.
I think Usman said he had 2 fights left, but this might be his last fight. We might be seeing a free agent, and we might be saying, welcome to the UFC, Usman Nurmagomedov. Bro, fuck him, bringing him in at 155 pounds. All these dudes are, woo! I don't think I put anybody at 155 pounds.
Be careful what you say. Be careful what you say here. Watch your mouth.
He's good, bro. He's crap.
I know he's good. I put him at 155 pounds. I put him in the top 5.
Really?
I
put him in the top. I put him in the top 3 with the current champ Ilia Topuria, with Arman
Justin Gaethje, Arman Tsarukyan,
Usman Nurmagomedov,
Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway.
I put him against all those dudes, all of them.
Okay, well, whenever Usman Nurmagomedov makes that jump, he's got a plethora of fun and amazing fights to pick from.
Justin Gaethje just dropped a heavy hint about retirement, and Ilia Topuria might be the final chapter. Justin admitted he's clearly in the last phase of his career and doesn't see himself fighting much past mid-next year. He straight up said that 2027 would likely be the end, and that a win over Ilia Topuria would be the kind of moment where walking away would actually make sense. Not a forced exit or a decline, but going out on a massive win on top against one of the most dangerous fighters in the sport. The highlight isn't chasing endless fights or dragging dragging his career out. Justin also confirmed that the massive title unification bout with Ilia Topuria is set. And it's not just happening anywhere, it's going down at the White House, and it will be the main event. That's not a rumor anymore, not speculation, but a straight confirmation from the interim champ himself. One of the biggest fights the UFC can possibly make right now on the most symbolic stage imaginable.
By mid next year, 2027, I 100% will be done.
Is there a win where you go, okay, I'm good, I've done everything, I'm out?
The challenge that is Ilia Topuria on the White House card, you know, I would never state publicly that I would be done after that, but that would be a fight where if I accomplish that, I am successful, then it would not be a dumb idea to not do it again. June is the White House card, and I'm American. I represent this country. So I just know for a fact I'm going to fight in the future, probably be the main event of that card. And it's going to be a huge fight. Obviously, all my fights are huge.
Luke Thomas believes the loss of Shavkat Rakhmonov from the UFC rankings is far worse than most people realize. In his words, this isn't just a contender falling out of the picture, it's the division losing a generational talent, a truly prodigious fighter, someone who looked like the future of welterweight, not just another name in the top 5. But this isn't the end of Shavkat's story. He will be back. At the same time, the reality is brutal. A knee injury is one of the worst injuries an MMA fighter can suffer. Once you come back, that area becomes a permanent target. Opponents will always attack it, test it, kick it, twist it, and pressure it in grappling exchanges. There's no hiding it in this sport. The time away is dangerous too. Long layoffs don't just affect the body, they hit the mind. Shavkat wasn't just another contender waiting in line, he was gearing up for a title fight against Belal Muhammad at the time. Mentally, he was already in championship mode, locked in on becoming champion. Going from that headspace to surgery, rehab, and uncertainty is a massive shift for any fighter. So while this isn't the end of Shavkat Rakhmonov, and his talent alone gives him a real path back to the top, the situation is serious. Let's hear what Luke Thomas had to say.
This to me is just devastating news. Devastating news. I mean, for a lot of reasons. If there was a guy you could pinpoint and say that dude has a very high likelihood of becoming a champion, or even if you just want to be so bold as to say it, that he's going to be a champion, you could not do much better than a guy like Shavkat Rakhmonov, who had everything going for him. He had a great chin, a little bit hittable, certainly you saw in the Jeff Neal fight, but phenomenal grappling, great takedowns, great submissions, a dynamic finisher if ever there was one. He's just one of those guys you could look at and be like, that dude's going places. The first Kazakh fighter signed to the UFC, just an absolutely prodigious talent. As I mentioned, he didn't get the finish in the Ian Gary fight, but he got the finish in literally every other one he's been in his professional career. Just one of these standout talents.
That's it from MMA Psycho. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.